Jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
The challenge facing the United States is that we have to be right one time. 100% of the time.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's.
This shit's bad for my career.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Frogs gay.
The lunar landings were more than likely fabricated.
Michael Jackson, he moonwalked. NASA didn't. The moon doesn't even exist.
Oh my god, that's the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
I'm not gonna lie, you threw a curveball at me.
The Illuminati, this is their main form of communication. They meet at the cloning station.
Reptilian, non-human race.
That's nonsense. Down the rabbit hole we go.
Aliens.
R. Kelly nuked Paul Walker's car.
I can't believe the Philippines would do anything dodgy.
We've got to look at the facts here.
I doubt we will.
It's hard for me to explain why that was the case. Just take my word for it.
Jesus fucking Christ, James.
He looked around to us.
I've had like one too many protein shakes.
Are you back in the shakes again?
Yeah, I've got more than one way. I'm sitting fucking trembling as well. But my digestive system's just like fucking post-war Nagasaki. It's making a steady recovery, but there's craters everywhere.
Oh man, your
Jesus Christ.
bowels are going to be reek.
Yeah.
You're not just like farting all the time. That's what protein stuff does to you.
It's not just fucking like speed.
No.
Oh, you get like.
Oh no, that's the pre-workout stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just fucking caffeine pills, isn't it?
For a pre-workout.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just full of like 1,000% RDA of every single vitamin and chemical that you can think of that might fuck you up, give you heavy anxiety.
Like Chris Benoit.
Yeah, definitely. But my insides, are destroyed.
Oh, nice.
Definitely now have to call my arsehole Chernobyl.
That's probably a good place to start.
Yeah, I'm really happy you're telling us about this in a small enclosed room.
I'll try my best.
Who's going to turn into fucking Chernobyl?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. But anyway.
Hi, sound. This is a podcast. It's got a name. The name is, what is it? Jet fuel can't melt steel beams?
It is indeed.
Sound. I'm Ben.
I'm Rob.
James. How you all doing? He's all good?
Not bad, man. How are you?
Yeah, well...
How's your hook doing?
It's an absolute reek. So you'll hear me kind of running away in 10 minutes. scrambling past yous.
How far can we stretch the mics out to the toilet?
No, I did have a lot of KFC yesterday, so my bowels aren't the greatest either.
I also had a KFC. And then I had a curry at night as well.
Fucking hell, you animal. I had a pot pie.
You'll be competing with me, like.
No, I'm feeling good. Like, I've got a pretty strong tummy. It's got a lot of composure.
You have no idea how much androgynous fat my body can handle.
My heart, not so good. Stomach, yeah, it's pretty good. Like, it's pretty good.
Oh,
got that Metamucil, which is always good.
What?
Metamucil. It's like a pill you take daily, and it's just good for your BMs. It's called BMs. Essentially, like a massive, like just a fibre pill.
Oh, right.
But it just keeps you all in check, and
you could just eat vegetables.
Gets you through the day.
No, I eat vegetables as well, but this just makes it like. It makes sure it's a primo drop.
Wow. On that note, what are we talking about?
So good point to start. I'll do my usual fun fact for the episode.
Yeah.
Oh, can't wait.
Lead you in gently. So you may, again, this may be something you already know.
It's like James's way of like foreplay.
So, yep. Don't know if you guys know, there is a village in Austria, roughly 21 miles north of Salzburg, called Fucking. When the mayor was asked if he would change the village's name, he replied, "Everyone here knows what it means in English. But for us, fucking is fucking, and it's going to stay fucking. Obviously, needless to say, the road signs are very popular, and after a spate of thefts, which included the theft of all 4 road signs in one night, and a total of 15 over a period of several years, in August 2005, the road signs were replaced with theft-resistant ones, welded to steel and secured in concrete to prevent being stolen. Commander Schmitzberger, the local police chief at this point, stated, "We will not stand for the fucking signs being removed. It may be very amusing for you British, but fucking is simply fucking to us. What is this big fucking joke?" So, the mayor and the chief of police sound like very angry and unreasonable Austrians. You know who else was also an angry and ridiculously unreasonable Austrian, but also a total twat?
Who's that?
Adolf Hitler.
Oh.
So, yeah, this is going to be a 3-parter. As we discussed today, we're going to go into a bit of Hitler's background, his childhood, into his early military career and transition into politics. And then I have a fun 13 The Führer as a Fud facts. And then
Führer is a what? Fud?
And then we'll discuss the official narrative of his death. We're going to get weirder and weirder over the following episodes.
So generally what? So the conspiracy theory is that he didn't die, is that...
So we'll get into them in a bit more depth and quite a bit of kind of over-the-top depth probably. But
excellent.
Yeah, ranging from he didn't die when he was supposed to die to he's still alive today.
He's still alive today.
That would make him...
I believe that one.
130 something?
Yeah, it must be, yeah.
So, what's the oldest person that's ever lived? Like 222?
130? No, 129, I think.
129?
I've got it.
Yeah.
I've got it somewhere. Yeah.
I would love to meet someone who's 220 years old. But that's like...
I said 122, not...
Oh, I thought you said 220. I was like, the only fuckers that are 220-year-old are like turtles.
Japanese.
Yeah, exactly. They are always Japanese. You tend to find it is.
Yeah, get genes out.
Great genes. Great diet as well, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, fucking ramen, man.
That's it. It's just like ramen, rice and fish. It's good. Good.
Sound. So, just go into it, yeah? He's happy.
Lead us in.
Yeah. So, Adolf Hitler, christened as Adolphus Hitler, was born on 20th of April 1889 in the small Austrian town of Braunau on the Inn River along the Bavarian-German border. Austria at that time was part of Austria-Hungary. His father, Alois Johann Hitler Sr., born Alois Johann Schicklgruber, before having his name changed, was a strict Austrian customs official. Alois Hitler was born illegitimately, and his paternity has never been established. This also then led to claims that his wife Clara, Adolf's mother, may have been his cousin. Although Alois' biological father is unknown, after his mother, Maria Schicklgruber, married Johann Heidler, Alois was officially made Heidler's son. Clara's mother was Heidler's niece, Johanna Heidler, who married Clara's father, Johann Baptist Polzel. Just so you know, this obviously making Clara and Alois first cousins once removed, which is Hitler's parents. Wow. Because of Alois Hitler's illegitimacy, it also meant, which is of great importance, that Adolf could not prove pure Aryan blood.
Aryan,
sorry. Orion.
Oh my god.
Oh
man, I can't wait for your pronunciation of German names.
Ian Peach is raging right now.
Should have brought him along just to interrupt every mispronunciation.
Orion.
Don't worry, I've got you there, man.
Aryan blood. Okay. When Alois was promoted in the customs service, he applied to be legitimised in the name of his stepfather, Heidler, which was entered in the register as Hitler for absolute random and unknown reasons. Bonus fact, Hitler literally means in Austrian, one who lives in a hut.
Oh, that's...
Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a product of some cousin loving.
And he's a bastard.
I never knew that.
I knew they.
He sounds an awful lot.
I knew he was a bastard, but not that.
I'm just having this realisation that I'm pretty sure J.K. Rowling made Lord Voldemort after Hitler.
Well, he is Wizard Hitler, pretty much, isn't he?
Yeah. Huh. Sorry, boys. I'm learning a lot right now. I'm learning a lot.
Oh, well, I'm upset. I said Orion.
You would not go down well in like the prison groups in America.
I'm part of the Orion race, eh? love that song on Master of Puppets.
A bunch of people are really into like space.
Fits in nicely with Chernobyl.
Yeah.
So Clara worked as a household servant until her attentions turned to raising a family after marrying Alois. Alois and Clara's first son, Gustav, was born on 17th of May 1885. Ida followed on 23rd of September 1886. Both infants died of diphtheria during the winter of 86-87. Diphtheria is a highly contagious and potentially fatal infection that can affect the nose and throat and sometimes the skin. A third child, Otto, was born and died in 1887 of hydrocephalus, or swelling of the brain. A fourth son was then born, Adolf, on 20th of April 1889. Orion. Another son, Edmund, was born on 24th of March 1894 and Paula on the 21st of January 1896. Edmund died of measles on 2nd of February 1900, aged 6. This meant out of Hitler's 4 biological siblings, only one had survived.
It's weird. I just had a moment there where I was like, I feel bad for him, and then I remembered who it was. And I was like, oh no, fuck him.
We should all died.
Yeah. What could have been?
Clara did have 2 children, Angela and Lois Jr. from a previous marriage, meaning Adolf did have 2 further step-siblings that survived. Okay, so Hitler's early years were controlled by his father, where he was frequently and severely punished. Alois was abusive to both Clara and the children, was very emotionally distant and spent a lot of time at the local tavern. This lasted until his death in 1903. After this, Adolf struggled and started rebelling while failing academically. He finally left school in 1905 and began his long years of aimless existence, reading, painting, dreaming of becoming a famous artist, and wandering in the woods, as you do. In 1908, his mother died of breast cancer. Hitler moved to Vienna in an attempt to enroll in the famed Academy of Fine Arts.
He was told he was shite.
Basically, yeah. And his failure to gain admission that year, and then again the following year, led him into a bout of depression as he drifted further away from his friends. So it's clear to see that Adolphus has clearly had a very tough upbringing. It's definitely possible to at least partially credit Hitler's early childhood with the reason for his horrific nature. It's obviously now well known that abusive parents tend to breed children who are also cruel and abusive. It's also interesting to note
nature versus nurture and all that jazz.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting to note that Hitler was ashamed enough of his childhood to attempt to completely lie about it. In his autobiography, Mein Kampf, he paints his upbringing as very idyllic, describing a doting mother and responsible father, and this couldn't have been further from the truth. Okay.
Sound.
Following.
Creating a nice little bit of PR for himself.
Wait, did he not write Mein Kampf while he was in prison?
Yes.
Are you getting into that?
I'll get into that.
Cool.
I've kind of jumped the gun a little bit, but we'll continue.
It'll all tie itself back.
Kind of half given up after saying Orion, but
fuck it, you want to start again?
Just drink these beers and come back next week, aye.
Are only 12 minutes in, it's fine.
There's plenty more mispronunciations to come. I promise you. It was during this time of depression, following his mother's death and his failures to gain entry into art school to follow his dream, that Hitler first became fascinated by the immense potential of mass political manipulation and control. Particularly, he was impressed by the success of the anti-Semitic or anti-Jewish nationalist Christian Socialist Party of Vienna, Mayor Karl Lueger. Lueger's party efficiently used propaganda and mass organisation to effectively spread their message on a wide scale. Hitler began to develop this extreme anti-Semitism and racial mythology that were to remain a key part of his own ideology, and subsequently that of the Nazi Party. He blamed the Jews for nearly all of Germany's struggles. So,
did his hatred not come out from being an artist in Vienna and essentially him trying to sell his paintings in the Jewish quarter?
He felt like the world was against him, but yeah.
What was the other
potentially.
one? The other like thing that
he blamed the Jews for that.
He got syphilis from a Jewish prostitute. Was that not one of the the urban legends about it as well?
That was a rumour, yeah.
Yeah.
Look how that escalated.
You fuck my dick, I'll fuck your nation. Oh, you're fucking people. Oh, man.
So, let's get into Hitler's military and political involvement. Okay. So in 1913, Hitler returned to Munich, and after the outbreak of World War I, having gone out his way to totally avoid fighting the Austrian army, in 1914 he put himself forward to be involved in the action for the German army in the war against other European forces and the United States of America. During the war, he fought on Germany's Western Front and smashed it. However, he gained no promotion beyond the rank of corporal, which is a low-ranking military officer.
Was he not like a mailman, but he was like delivered like messages to the front line or something?
I think so. Yeah, he was quite low-ranking, but
he was a gammy soldier, wasn't he?
There was some. Well, there was someone like American that. Recalls having the opportunity to kill him, but just not doing it because he was by himself.
Yeah,
I don't know who that was.
If I was that American, I would have just kept my mouth shut. When I was like, I could have done it.
Yeah, he was injured twice during the war. Once in the Battle of Somme, where he reportedly lost a testicle after being wounded in the groin.
The syphilis.
Evidence of this is documented in his medical records, which we'll discuss later. He won several awards for bravery. Among them was the highly respected Iron Cross First Class.
That was a British. Sorry, just fact checking myself. It was a British soldier called Henry Tandy. There you go.
Okay.
Sorry, just staying right there.
Thanks.
I want to have an input. Fuck you.
The end of the war left Hitler with nowhere to go or nothing to do, which drove him to join the many veterans who continued to fight in the streets of Germany. In the spring of 1919, he found employment as a political officer in the army in Munich. This was his introduction into the world of politics. He later, after receiving recognition for his ideology, became leader of the Nazi Party. Here we go.
So was the Nazi Party a thing before he...
It was formerly the German Workers' Party, but it was renamed. So it's the National Socialist Deutsche Arbeiterparty, otherwise known as Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel. So it was essentially, he was a union party then?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, Jesus, that...
Jesus.
In 1923, he later attempted to seize power in a failed coup in Munich, in what became known as the Beer Hall Putsch, and was imprisoned. Leaders of the Bavarian government were holding a rally at Munich Beer Hall in front of more than 3,000 spectators. Suddenly, Hitler burst into the hall, fired his pistol in the air, and announced to the stunned audience that the building was surrounded by 600 of his stormtroopers. Hitler took the stunned Bavarian officials backstage, where he told them he would keep them hostage until they expressed support for his revolution. He got their cooperation, however, not that of the crowd, as they were just totally bewildered and confused and didn't have a clue what the fuck was going on.
Jesus.
The next day, Hitler marched his army through the streets of Berlin with apparently no direction or plan in place and just total confusion. They were met by a German police unit. Hitler escaped briefly, but was caught before serving just 8 months of his 5-year sentence. In jail, he dictated the first volume of his autobiography and political manifesto titled Mein Kampf, translated as My Struggle. After his release in 1924, Hitler gained popular support by attacking the Treaty of Versailles and promoting pan-Germanism, anti-Semitism and anti-communism with charismatic speeches and Nazi propaganda. He vilified international capitalism and communism as part of a Jewish conspiracy.
There you go, then.
Okay.
Well,
he did, though, did not manage to actually, not to try and fucking, I don't know, praise him in a good light, but brought Germany out of a depression after the First World War.
Yeah, so he had a massive following because they were on the kind of financial and economic rising from when he kind of took over. So
yeah, so it's a lot of people that followed him. It's like, oh well, he gave us work. There was money. There was an economy. Okay, we didn't necessarily agree with his.
Promised everyone a car.
Yeah, did he?
yeah. Volkswagen. Volkswagen, I don't know what it is, like the people's car or something. That was pretty much him. And one of his big points going in power is like, yeah, going to employ people, going to make these cars. You're all going to have one.
Make Germany great again.
Yes, yeah. But she's probably a lot smarter than.
So by July 1932, the Nazi Party was the biggest party in the German Reichstag. Hitler was then appointed as Chancellor on 30th of January 1933. He later became Führer in 1934 and was generally just known as Der Führer, the leader. Hitler's dictatorship spanned 12 years from 1933 to 1945. His first 6 years in power, as discussed, resulted in fast economic recovery from the Great Depression, the withdrawal of many restrictions imposed on Germany after the First World War, and the takeover of territories inhabited by millions of ethnic Germans, which gave him significant popular support. Hitler initiated World War II in Europe by invading Poland in September 1939. He was closely involved in military operations throughout the war and was a central driving force behind the Holocaust.
Yeah, I think that's all quite common knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. So
breaking that Treaty of Versailles, invading Poland.
Yeah,
he's a bit of a naughty boy.
Actually, I went to the World War II Museum in Gdansk a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Which obviously you learn in high school here that he invaded Poland, started the World War II, but like actually seeing it from the Polish perspective, it's quite interesting because it was Gdansk that was like the contested territory that he kept trying to like take over. I think.
Yeah.
That was an invasion of there that sparked the war.
But war. It was didn't end well for him.
No. But there was a thing though, like at that point that there was the whole room there. Its title was "Peace at Any Cost." So obviously, given the fact that they'd just come out of World War One, like Britain and America, most of Europe, they couldn't handle getting into another war, so they were just like offering, like being like, yeah, if you just don't invade anyone else, that's fine. Just rein it in a bit. Because they didn't have the strength to actually contest him until he pushed them so far that they had to.
Well, there were a few kind of peace offerings throughout the.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like seeing it from the sort of Polish perspective there, where it was just they were like wanted fuck. He's a bit of a hand here. Eh?
Yeah, let's get it sorted. Let's go get it sorted. Let's go send Neville Chamberlain. Can you just not touch France? Please. Oh, he's fucking done it.
Oh, bastard.
Under Hitler's leadership and racially motivated ideology, in an attempt to create a new order, a pan-German racial state which ensured the supremacy of the Aryan Nordic master race.
Aryan.
Yeah.
Aryan. Orion.
It's better. It is better.
You're getting it.
The Nazi regime was responsible for the genocide of at least 5.5 million Jews and millions of other victims who he and his followers deemed as Untermenschen, subhumans, or socially undesirable. The infamous concentration and extermination camps were responsible for some of the most horrific war crimes of all time. Notably, although more than happy to arrange and authorise these camps, Hitler never actually attended any of them ever. The Nazi regime were also responsible for killing an estimated 19.3 million civilians and prisoners of war. On top of all that, 28.7 million soldiers and civilians died as a result of military action in Europe. The number of civilians killed during World War II was unparalleled and unheard of in warfare, and the casualties marked the deadliest conflict in history. Yeah, that's pretty grim, yeah.
Yeah, because, well, prior to, like, World War One, like, that's when, like, proper, like, machines came into it, and, like, the idea of battle used to be, you would meet on a battlefield. Like, guerrilla-type warfare just wasn't a thing. But with, like, the engines of war that then, by World War II, were just so much bigger and more capable, it was just utter destruction.
Yeah.
Just chaos,
Yeah.
Okay, so it escalated a lot more for the first. In terms of a sequel, it's kind of what you want.
It's bigger, it's more bombastic.
But because it's not, because
the characters are more.
yeah, the characters are a lot more interesting. It's a lot heavier, but then sadly, it's not a film. And
it actually happened.
yeah, and then oh god, it was.
If you could go back and kill Hitler as a baby,
Oh yeah, I could do. Or do you think? Or would you be one of those people who's like, no, I would take him and raise him?
Well, if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be here.
Oh, jeez. Like, imagine if I got that option right now. Boom, I go away, I do it, I get put right back where I am. It's like, James, where's Ben? Who's Ben? I Thanos'd you by accident.
My granddad was a Polish immigrant from the war, so if there wasn't war, you didn't have any reason to flee to Edinburgh then. Aye.
Well, that makes it difficult. I feel like if it was like, would you kill them now? I was like, I don't know, like 60 million people. Ben.
That's a tough decision, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
I know what I'd do. Fuck the 60 million.
I'd be able to take him to the future.
Yeah.
He's about 6. You notice he's combing the hair to one side, like, whoa. What are you doing? Just make my hair smart. No, you're not. Not in this fucking household, you're not.
It's fine with a permanent marker.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. Sorry.
it's all good. We're that's us finished the kind of background that we need to know about Hitler.
Yeah.
We can now move on to the Führer as a FUD facts.
I can't wait. Like,
I feel I know that we have a massive audience right now. And,
I think everyone switched off at Orion.
I've heard Orion.
if there was anyone.
Do you know? I'd be excellent if you're just like your missus and you're looking at the constellations and you're just like, yep, that's the Aryan belt. You're calling this Orion.
I have this difficulty when reading. You know,
I know.
I can't fucking say words properly.
Never change, please.
Mind incarcerated.
You said it like 3 times in a row.
It doesn't get any better.
Ben just get them incarcerated.
You know how to say the word, and then you say it and you panic.
Like I was saying, just because I know we have this massive audience, I think we should probably. I don't think FUDs are common words outside of Perthshire. Or parts unknown where we are.
Hitler is a belter.
So I think it should be. I should say that FUD is a slang for an idiot.
Yeah, or a bit of a cunt.
It'd be great just to do so. FUD slang for being a dafty.
So let's get into it then. So Hitler's medical report was released. It comprised of a 47-page account compiled by 6 chief physicians, each specialising in different areas of treatment, and a 178-page report dated June 12, 1945, which was compiled by Dr. Erwin Geising while he was interned by the American forces. The US military commissioned the medical reports provided by Hitler's personal doctors, and this is where most of these facts come from. So, number 1. The Führer had extreme gastrointestinal issues and therefore constantly had to fart. Please search for Hitler fart videos. It's fucking brilliant.
Is it actually caught on film?
Yeah.
Squeezing one out.
In an attempt to control his flatulence, he regularly ingested up to 28 drugs, including anti-gas pills based on strychnine, a poison that caused him massive liver and stomach complications. He was just constantly farting. Whenever he got excited,
He also took a lot of fucking amphetamines as well.
Yeah, was he not like meth pretty much?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll take some of the rest of the points to come out.
I suppose that's going to stop you from shitting, innit?
Yeah.
So that's gonna...
There's a video of him at which Olympics was it that he attended?
Oof.
I can't remember, like
just German Olympics, isn't it?
Well, no, because they attended like the Olympics. Like,
was it Italy maybe?
Something like that. But yeah, there's like footage of him, and he's just like all hunched over, and his jaw's fucking like.
It's a very, very good impression. Like.
I wish this was a fucking visual medium, because
yeah. I tried to do some like last night about maybe
crystal meth.
No, I fucking wish. I was like, maybe I should do like a little bit of facts, just going into no more doing something about Hitler. And just because you mentioned sport, I just ended up watching the Escape to Victory last night. Just the Sylvester Stallone plays a goalkeeper in the Second World War with Pele. I didn't learn much. But it goes back to that summer event.
Yeah.
Sound. Number 2. To get things going in the bedroom, Hitler injected himself with bull semen.
What?
At the time, it was believed that injecting bull testicle extract would boost a man's libido. Hitler was one...
Libido.
Fuck off, Ben. This is interpretation here.
No, sorry. Did you just say libido? Libido. Sorry. Yeah.
Hitler was one of these unlucky men that found out the hard way that this didn't work.
What a shock.
Where did he inject it? Was it like a depository?
I stumbled across this by accident.
Oh, you haven't got a video of that, have you?
No. While verifying if this was true or not, and I fell into the history of erectile dysfunction treatment.
Okay.
Here you are, and you're welcome. The 1920s and 30s in the United States saw a Dr. John R. Brinkley attempt to cure erectile dysfunction through the use of medication. Unfortunately, his methods included expensive goat gland implants.
What?
Goat gland implants.
Fucking hell.
And mercurochrome injections, which is an antiseptic solution which resulted in his medical license being revoked. He apparently fled to Mexico, where he continued to advertise his techniques. Jump to the 1960s, which saw the vacuum pump implemented by Giddens D. Osborn, which was a surgical device designed to create an erection through vacuum. And in the 70s...
What, did he invent the first dick pump?
Yes.
Going back to the 60s, yeah. In the 70s, surgeons started providing patients with inflatable penis implants.
Oh.
It wasn't until 1983 that Charles Brinkley introduced the effectiveness of phentolamine on inducing an erection. This proved to be a vital discovery, paving the way for the development of oral treatments that would work in a similar way. Before the launch of Viagra in 1998, there was no oral treatment for erectile dysfunction. A drug named UK 92480, which was being trialled as a new treatment for angina by Pfizer, did not appear to be overly successful. Pfizer were about to abandon further trials until trial volunteers returned, reporting an unusual side effect.
They all had massive boners.
Loads of boners, yeah.
One say boners.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Do you ever take it for like altitude sickness as well? Something like
I think there's other uses for it.
It opens up like your bloodways or something like.
It does, yeah.
You can't get out your seat.
It's it's kind of like one of those things that a lot of hikers.
Yeah. And like mountaineers and stuff.
Yeah, you hear about like these stories about people like going way up, and you get like altitude. Fuck me. You get the sickness, and they just take some. Take some Viagra. Take some Viagra. But yeah, I'm really not sure how Viagra works. So I think you have to like think, and then once you think and you've got that locked and loaded, it's going nowhere.
Just blood spurting everywhere.
Now that's a side effect. Yeah. But what's that? I might actually do a little bit more research on like the blow up penis.
With the vacuum or the goat gland implant?
No, not the goat gland.
The inflatable implant.
Because like, when you said that, I just keep thinking of like Hindus.
or the wee machine in the toilet. Yeah. Your blow up sheep for your penis.
I was just thinking of like an actual balloon.
Inside,
but with like the bit on the outside, so you just blow into it.
do you think when you deflate it, it makes the same noise as a balloon? And it goes, just flies about the room. And then just soggy hits them all.
Fact number 3.
So Hitler apparently had ailerophobia, which is the fear of cats. This is something he shared in common with Alexander the Great, Napoleon, Mussolini, Julius Caesar, Genghis Khan, William Shakespeare and Dwight Eisenhower, who all suffered from an unbearable fear of the pussycat.
Do you think he just said that just so he could be in line? Like, look, I'm kind of like some of these historical leaders.
Yeah,
Quite possibly,
great
yeah.
thinkers or
Yeah. And Dwight Eisenhower.
So Eisenhower is even said to have had his staff shoot any cat seen on the grounds of his home.
What a fucking knobhead as well.
Thanks, Rob.
It's crazy.
Next point, we'll just gloss over that. He would snort cocaine to apparently, according to him, clear his sinuses.
Yeah, that's a good way to clear your sinuses.
It's the best excuse.
Yeah, that's what
But it wasn't even good, so like.
I know.
People are like,
That's what people say at our work.
Edit.
Next one, please.
So next point, number 5. He was apparently banging his niece.
I heard that.
He spent an unusually large amount of time with his niece, Gelly Robble, and was widely rumoured to be engaging in sexual activities with her. He was obsessed with her and practically kept her prisoner in his home. She died under suspicious circumstances, shot by Hitler's gun after the two had a heated row involving the idea of her fleeing to Vienna.
she probably just laughed at him because he couldn't get up.
Yeah. It's like,
Oh, go get your bull semen shot. Where's your vacuum?
strongly inflatable penis.
Impotent fuck.
Yeah. Oh, God. His niece was really young as well at the time, wasn't she? She was like, what, 13?
Oh.
I don't have age here, mate. I didn't.
I think she was. I heard like those kind of stories, and I was like, oh fuck. But then you also remember like that it's Adolf Hitler. Do you know what I mean?
It's not surprising, really, is it?
It's just another notch on his bedpost.
Absolutely.
So I just had a swatch of pineapple milkshake. It's
Yeah.
pretty good, like.
I'll be there next.
So, yeah, I need to kind of spend some time on pronunciation. So, I think this is a good time to take a break.
Yeah.
I'll be back more with some more Führer as a fun facts after the break.
And it's advert time, so James, take it away.
Now this Friday night, why not check out Perth's premier music venue? Gringo Mike's Mondo Barcode will fulfil all of your beer and music needs, with tins and bottles, and even an exclusive lager tap, and highly sought out musical talent such as Soccer Mum and Monkey Scrotum. Located on 124 Isnea Street, why not check out Gringo Mike's Mondo Barcode this weekend? We've teamed up with them to provide a 10% discount at the door. Use the phrase, jet fuel can't melt steel beams at the door, and you'll be getting exclusive discount to Perth's hottest live venue. If the bouncer gives you any hassle, just remember to tell them, jet fuel can't melt steel beams. Don't miss out. That's jet fuel can't melt steel beams at the door to receive the discount. Jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
That's us back from the break. I hope you enjoyed our sponsor for this week. Right, we're going to take it away. We're going to continue with Fud Facts. Adolf Hitler.
Führer Fud Facts.
Führer Fud Facts.
Fud Facts Hitler edition.
So, point number 6. Hitler had a nephew named William Patrick Hitler, who ended up fighting against him as part of the US Navy. Born in Liverpool, yeah. William apparently, while in Germany, had managed to secure work under his uncle, who was Chancellor. He got Willie a job at a bank and in a car factory. Chancellor Gimp then dined out in Germany by sharing his very famous uncle's surname. William allegedly started blackmailing Adolf, threatening to sell embarrassing family stories to the newspapers if he didn't get him a higher paying job. It's been reported that one threat involved spreading the rumour that Hitler's paternal grandfather was really a Jewish merchant. William Hitler returned home in 1939. However, by that point, having the last name Hitler while living in Britain wasn't too smart or appealing, so William moved to America. After the war,
They fucking took it with open arms.
Surprised I didn't fucking go to Argentina.
oh, that's to come. After the war, William distanced himself from the Führer entirely. He changed his name to William Stuart Houston and lived a very quiet life until his death in 1987.
Did he have any offspring?
I think he did, but I didn't care to include it in here.
There was something about like the last kind of like lineage of the Hitlers.
I think it's his his children. This William Hitler's children were the last.
Yeah.
Direct.
And there was a thing, I think it was in the news, it's gone back like a long time, must be like 10 years ago, where it was like these 3 kids, well, adults, who I think they agreed to like, yeah, we're not gonna procreate, and we're just gonna let this fucking line die out.
Jesus.
Yeah.
There you go then.
Yeah.
So, on to the next point. Hitler likely had an illegitimate son. He impregnated a 16-year-old French woman named Charlotte Lovejoy while fighting in France in World War I. Hitler apparently refused acknowledgement that this was his son. However, he sent money regularly to Miss Lovejoy. Okay.
What's happened to that lineage?
No idea. It's gone very quiet.
Like one of them's turned out to be Jimmy Carr.
Point number 8. There were 42 known assassination attempts on Hitler.
Fucking hell.
The bastard survived all of them and then decided to kill himself. What an arsehole.
At least give someone else the fucking credit, eh?
After one assassination in which someone attempted to poison him, he employed a team of 15 young women who would test his food for poison before he ate it. In another instance, in response to a handful of rogue Nazi officers also attempted to take him out, he executed 5,000 people just to make a point.
Sound boy then, eh?
Yeah. Absolute dick, yep.
Takes them as well.
And on to something we discussed briefly earlier. As mentioned earlier, Hitler only had one ball. He lost the other during the First World War. Maybe he was trying to compensate for his lack of a testicle by trying to take over the planet.
Inferiority complex.
The medical term monarchic was used to describe the Nazi leader by a German medic, Johann Jambor. The Nazi leader lost a testicle during the Battle of the Somme in 1916. Blasius Hanchuk, a friend of Jambor, said the doctor later blamed himself for saving Hitler's life. He said, and I quote, "In 1916, they had their hardest fight in the Battle of the Somme. For several hours, Johann and his friends picked up injured soldiers. He remembers Hitler. They called him the Screamer. He was very noisy. Hitler was screaming, 'Help! Help!' His abdomen and legs were all in blood. Hitler was injured in the abdomen and lost one testicle. His first question to the doctor was, 'Will I be able to have children?' The British military would often chant the song, 'Hitler has only got one ball, the other is in the Albert Hall.'" Brilliant stuff.
Mm-hmm. But is the ball in the Albert Hall?
Probably. I mean, the first line might be accurate. I don't think they kept it as a trophy.
Just lying, decaying somewhere in a field.
Probably
in France.
exploded.
It's probably hidden, a la like the Da Vinci Code in the Louvre.
Tom Hanks is next.
It's like the 5th Dan Brown book.
When Hitler was a boy, he always wanted to be a priest. Hitler was humbled by a local priest as a 4-year-old boy when the priest saved his life by rescuing him from a freezing lake. As an adult, being a priest wasn't enough for Hitler. He decided he wanted to take his role further. He wanted to play God.
Oof, James, heaviness there.
I know.
Okay, a little bit lighter. Point 11. Despite abstaining from alcohol, Hitler took as many as 80 different drugs a day. As previously mentioned, many for his uncontrollable flatulence. He inhaled cocaine, but also opiates. Interestingly, he took a drug called Pervitin, which basically broken down is just crystal meth.
Yes, mad.
So he didn't smoke or drink, but he smashed everything else.
He is like the Keith Richards of dictators.
There's a book. There's like fucking just all about like the drugs in the Nazi.
Yeah. Did they not invent like PCP?
Pretty sure. Yeah, it was just like stuff to give to their soldiers just to keep them fucking fighting.
Yeah.
And he was like, Sam, give me some of this shit.
Take this.
Give me some of the good stuff.
Take this. From a test show, we shot him in the heart and he was still fighting. What? Oh, it's PCP, okay.
I'm pretty sure the British were all on fucking speed as well. Like.
Yeah, they were
Tanning it.
Aye.
Just dabbing in the trenches.
Just rubbing it in their gums.
From the battlefields to the nightclubs.
Fucking skanking over no man's land.
Or just fucking chewing their cheek.
So, number 12. This is a good one.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll appreciate this one. Hitler planned to assassinate Winston Churchill by hiding a bomb in his chocolate. True fact. The Nazis
Chocolate's a bit hard.
The Nazis planned to smuggle confectionery-coated explosives into the heart of government buildings. This was discovered by British spies, and the plan was overturned.
Right, if you're going to the effort, like you got to have people on the inside who are going to get in these fucking bombs. Why don't you just send in someone with a gun?
It's I'm not gonna lie, one of my favourite things about hearing about like some of the plans like they had in like these wars. I was like, what are we going to do to get rid of this people? Like, have you any of you heard the story about the gay bomb?
No.
Yes.
Do you know the gay bomb? The gay bomb, yeah.
They tried to turn everyone gay. To stop war. So that they would just all love each other.
Yeah.
What? Who? Which? The Germans or the?
No, this is the Allies. The Allies tried to make us gay. Well, what they were doing is they planned to like be like a. Essentially something to be like dispersed in the air with loads of like what's it called? I want to call it like the estrogen.
Right. Okay.
They wanted to like essentially an estrogen bomb on the field because they believed it would make them weaker and
they'll just drop their guns and start making out.
Yeah, well, make them weaker, make them more upset, more close to their feelings, like a woman. They thought, and eventually, all it would essentially do is make them a bit more grumpy, and they'd get them a set of tits.
My breasts are sore.
Yeah, they get some sort of tits. But that was it, and it was. I don't think it was under the name Gay Bomb, but Operation Gay Bomb. But it was legit like a plan they were thinking of. Like, yeah,
you remember the cat bomb? Have you not heard of the cat bomb? It's another one used during the war.
Oh, there's no way to put a bomb in a cat.
They used to strap a bomb to cats and drop them in the sea to see if they would swim to the nearest boat to blow it up. But this failed as soon as the cats started drowning.
Way down with fucking C4.
Oh, Jesus, it was.
Do you not do it to like pigeons
innovation
as well?
at its best.
Not to, like,
Pigeon bomb.
Can you imagine like being a soldier and go like, yeah, Barry, doesn't that pigeon look like it's got a grenade gaffer tape to it?
Thanks for the sound effects. Makes me happy.
I love the idea of a cat bomb.
It's just a massive failure. They expected.
I'm like, all things just like, all right, what we're gonna do? We're gonna strap this cat full of explosives. Right, then what? We're gonna like send it out to the front lines or what? Nah, we'll put it in the sea. What?
So they thought it would swim to either nearest boat or the nearest land and then detonate. Explode. But it just fucking drowned on the spot. And they're closer to blowing themselves up than any fucking else.
Can you imagine it was like those like dwarf cats? They're like grumpy cats. A bomb on that.
I actually just imagine like fucking the film Cats and Dogs. It's like the ninja cats with some super bombs.
Oh man, I wish that's amazing.
So yeah, the chocolate bomb, gay bomb, and the cat bomb, none of them worked. So
just make a nuclear bomb then.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Finally, we've got point number 13: Hitler's tash. Before Hitler became famous, his variant of the toothbrush moustache was not particularly popular and was often nicknamed Rotzbremse, which is German for snot break. A friend of Hitler once asked him why he kept such an ugly moustache. Hitler replied, "If it's not the fashion now, it will be later because I wear it." No,
I mean, in certain subsects of people, I guess.
Was he not also? Did he not also love silent cinema, Hitler?
It was like Charlie Chaplin, yeah.
So
Yeah, and like he loved the Great Dictator by Chaplin.
Mm-hmm. So
Even though it was absolutely fucking tearing shreds into oh, this is bloody great.
You love everything when you're on meth.
Some believe that he modelled it on the growingly famous Charlie Chaplin, like you said, or that it was much easier to maintain a moustache like that without the twisty sides that a standard toothbrush moustache would have. However, it's widely believed that he styled his moustache because of another reason: to fit a gas mask. This is from a Vanity Fair article titled "Becoming Hitler," and I quote, "Hitler wore the moustache in the trenches because he had been ordered to. The old bushy moustache did not fit under his equipment. In other words, the moustache that defines Hitler was cut in a shape to fit a gas mask, which is perfect because Hitler was the bastard son of the Great War, conceived in the trenches, born in defeat. He inhaled mustard gas and exhaled Cyclone B." Grim.
Yeah.
So obviously Cyclone B was a trade name of a cyanide-based pesticide invented in Germany in the early 1920s. The product is infamous for its use by Nazi Germany during the Holocaust to murder approximately 1 million people in gas chambers installed at Auschwitz, among other extermination camps. So Adolf Hitler is certainly one whose death continues to be surrounded in mystery. Hitler's reign over Germany can be considered as one of the darkest and infamously well known in history. Not much is known, however, about the last moments of the Nazi regime over Germany and many parts of Europe, and this obviously paves the way for conspiracy theorists. Hitler reigned until his death in 1945, just prior to the end of the war. So I'm going to just briefly go over the kind of official narrative of his death, just to round off the ep. So this is the official narrative according to history.co.uk. Plain and simple. Not 4chan. Not Reddit. Okay, so
is this the information from history, as in the History Channel?
No,
the website's just called
history.co.uk.
Oh, okay. I was just double checking because like that channel also does ancient aliens. So, really, 4chan's maybe not too much.
Truckers.
Probably
Dynasty.
Probably a highly sought out domain as well. But in January 1945, facing a siege of Berlin by the Soviets, Hitler withdrew to his bunker to live out his final days, located 55 feet under the Chancellery. The shelter contained 18 rooms and was fully self-sufficient with its own water and electricity supply. Though he was growing increasingly mad, Hitler continued to give orders and meet with such close subordinates as Hermann Göring, Heinrich Himmler, and Joseph Goebbels.
Gerbils.
He also
like Goebbels.
Fessing with some of the other interpretations of pronunciation.
Not a name you'd want if the gay bomb went off.
Okay, so Hitler also married his long-time mistress Eva Braun just 2 days before his suicide. In his last will and testament, Hitler appointed Admiral Karl Donitz as head of state and Goebbels as chancellor. On 29th of April, Hitler found out that his ally Benito Mussolini had been captured and executed by Italian partisans. The bodies of Mussolini and his mistress Clara Petacci had been strung up by their heels. The corpses were later cut down and thrown into the gutter. They were then mocked by Italian dissenters. This is likely a catalyst for what was to follow. He did not want to allow himself or his wife to be made a spectacle of, just as he recorded in his testament. He consulted his physician, Werner Haas, to inquire what the best form of suicide would be.
Gun.
Yeah. Haas.
Cat bomb.
Reaching out the bunker. Haas suggested potassium cyanide with a bullet through the head. While doubting the efficacy of the cyanide capsules distributed by SS physician Dr. Ludwig Stumpfegger, Hitler ordered Dr. Haas to test one on his dog, Blondie, who died as a result.
For fuck's sake.
What an asshole.
The stage was set.
Even
It's
Chris
like 60 million people. We'll laugh and we'll make jokes about that. The dog. Come on, to fuck.
I know.
Even Chris Benoit saved the dogs.
He then retired to his private quarters with Braun, and on 30th of April 1945, he and Braun arranged for their dogs to be killed before they poisoned themselves, before Hitler then also shot himself with his service pistol. The following is taken from eyewitness statements. So after the poisoning of Hitler's dog Blondie, Hitler's dog handler, Sergeant Fritz Torno, took Blondie's pups from the arms of the Goebbels children, who'd been playing with them, and shot them in the garden of the bunker.
Fucking hell.
He then killed Eva Braun's 2 dogs and his own Dachshund by lethal injection.
What cunt?
Several witnesses later reported that they had heard a loud gunshot approximately 3:30 p.m. After holding back for a couple of minutes, Hitler's valet, Heinz Linge, opened the study door with Martin Bormann, head of the Nazi Party Chancellor, at his side. Linge later stated that he immediately noted a scent of burnt almonds, which is particularly common observation in the presence of prussic acid, which is the aqueous form of hydrogen cyanide. Mm-hmm. One of Hitler's senior officers, Schutzstaffel or SS Sturmbannführer Otto Gunsch, entered the study and found the 2 lifeless bodies on the sofa. Eva, with her legs drawn up, was to Hitler's left and slumped away from him. Gunsch stated that Hitler sat sunken over with blood dripping out of his right temple. He'd shot himself with his own pistol, a Walter PPK 7.65.
Is that not fucking James Bond's gun?
Possibly.
Walther PPK.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Could be.
That's James Bond Hitler.
Was Hitler James Bond?
Got one more conspiracy to add next episode. So, the gun lay at his feet, and according to SS Oberscharführer Rokas Mich, Hitler's head was lying on the table in front of him, and blood dripping from Hitler's right temple and chin had made a large stain on the right arm of the sofa and was pooling onto the carpet. According to Linge, Eva's body had no physical wounds, and her face showed how she had died by cyanide poisoning. Hitler and Braun's bodies were hastily cremated in the Chancellery Garden as Soviet forces closed in on the building. When the Soviets reached the Chancellery, they removed Hitler's ashes, continually changing their location so as to prevent Hitler devotees from creating a memorial at his final resting place. Only 8 days later, on 8th of May 1945, the German forces issued an unconditional surrender, leaving Germany to be carved up by the 4 Allied powers. Aside from the fact that Eva's devoted herself to the death, what happened after was a little bit less romantic. After finding out that he was dead, Hitler's staff immediately started smoking. Hitler fucking hated cigarette smoke. He was then carried out and burned in the garden. When they saw that his body was not fully destroyed, they just thought, fuck it, let's bury him in a bomb crater, and ran away. So, summarising, Hitler was an arsehole in many more ways than one. He knew he would lose the war, so him and his girlfriend killed themselves with poison, Hitler making sure the job was done by also shooting himself. After 42 attempts, the wanker was finally dead. Or was he?
Oh,
That's
We'll go into depth next episode and the conspiracies surrounding his death, pointing towards the idea that he didn't actually die that day and lived out the rest of his days in a foreign country. Others believe that the Führer is still alive to this day.
jeez.
so it was fucking. What was the occult magic to fucking keep him alive to 130 odd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day he's been doing sigils. Wanking on a bad paper.
Stay alive.
So
Does
yeah,
it count if I just put poor bull semen on it?
I never knew the bit where it was like the smoking. Was he just like smoking?
As soon as he's dead, they're like, thank fuck.
It's like he's finally dead, but they're all just like, we're fucked. Like, we're in so much shit.
it's just that they were just like couldn't be asked disposing of his body the way that he demanded. He just smoked over him and then just, oh fuck it, let's just throw him in there.
Let's just pop him in this hole and fuck off.
Yeah, guys,
Yeah.
can I use all the meth?
So,
Do you want to go great with these cigarettes? Meth.
if anyone's actually managed to listen this far, I sincerely apologise for some of my pronunciation.
I think it's been outstanding.
There will be worse to come.
Oh, I can't bloody wait.
I really hope that you're in a position where you have to start naming maybe Japanese soldiers.
Are there any conspiracies on the sacking of Nanking? Right, sound. Well, that's it for episode 1 on Hitler. Sound.
Yeah, see you later, guys.
Yeah, cheers guys.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Boris Johnson describing women who wear burqas as looking like letterboxes and bank robbers.
We'll begin immediate construction of a border wall.
Jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
Thanks for coming. Welcome to the White House.
Over.